And now to discuss the latest from the lifting of petrol from the Dangote Refinery and related issues, we're joined by business and social policy analyst who joins us live, and that's Kenneth Okenwa, who joins us live now on video. Well, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you for doing this. Let's just get started because we're pressed for time. So given the varying pump prices across different states, what factors do you think is influencing the regional price disparities we're seeing? A state is paying as high as 1,000 naira, and it seems that Lagos is paying the cheapest amongst this, price range. Are these variations primarily due to transportation costs, local market conditions, or are there any other, underlying factors?
All right, it's important that we highlight the way that majority of Nigerians are feeling now before we'll get very academic about what is on ground. What we're seeing play out now is actually a theater of contradictions, a theater of complexity, and obviously a theater of confusion. It would appear to be that the regulators and probably the major players in the industry are playing on the intelligence of Nigerians, and that is actually from one side of the coin. But from the other side of the coin, to actually explain the contradictions that we're seeing in the pricing of these products, the major factor that is responsible is that which can be boiled down to the supply chain disturbances and the supply chain irregularities that actually characterize the distribution of the product. And when you take it from a more microscopic view and a more macroeconomic point of view, it is evident of the fact that we have not invested enough in liberalizing that sector and in ensuring that the liberalization saturates the entire nook and cranny of the Nigerian state. What that means is, for instance, that what has happened over the years is the cannibalization of the state operational facilities, which are the refineries that are in Kaduna, in Warri, and in Port Harcourt. And now that we are allowing the private refineries to come on board, what should be done immediately is to ensure that across the different geopolitical zones in Nigeria, these same refineries with these same capabilities are allowed to exist so that we can have competitive pricing and bring the pricing of these petroleum products down so that Nigerians would not suffer beyond what they are suffering now. So the market conditions are not right. The politics behind the pricing must also be highlighted. And it's as though there are some, internal wranglings that are going on in this industry that we that are outsiders didn't actually have a total understanding of. But we hope that whatever is done, the Nigerian people will be put at the major pivot in decision making and ensure that macroeconomic populism is what actually drives this decision. This is actually painful. This deepens the confusions of Nigerians. This deepens the poverty of Nigerians. And this deepens the tears that many people have to cry just because we are not managing a God-given endowment, which should make us the richest nation on the continent of Africa, at least.
Kenneth, I'm so glad with your submission because that takes us to my next question about the conflicting statements from the NNPCL and Dangote Refinery regarding the purchase price of petrol, which has raised questions about their business relationship. Now, how does this disagreement impact the overall fuel supply chain and potential future collaborations?
Well, the first thing that I've already said about the business model of NNPC, now NNPCL, and now that we're beginning to have major private players in the system, is the issue that borders on transparency and the issue that borders on what role the NNPC should actually be playing. You can't be judge and jury in a particular incident, a particular case at the same time. Should NNPC restrict itself strictly to the regulatory role, or should NNPC restrict itself strictly to the marketing role? So that we have a state actor, a state organization that also engages in marketing. And then we have a separate body that is responsible for complete regulation of both NNPCL and other players in the industry. We will continue to have this problem if we cannot disentangle what should be the unique directional role of NNPCL. And because this business is a global business, and global shocks and global shakes and global market shakeouts would usually affect the pricing of commodities, the pricing of products from that sector, there is no way we will not continue to have this. So the real issue for me, away from the internal and external wranglings and the discrepancies between the NNPCL and other players, and the possibilities for us to have modular refineries in place to bring down these prices, is that the Nigerian people will continue to suffer from this instability in the system because the country relies deeply on this sector to fund its energy, to drive its energy, and to move one thing from one place to the other. The earlier major players get the game right and put the Nigerian people at the forefront of their decisions and not put profiteering or profit-taking and rent-seeking in front of decision-making, I think the better it will be for us going forward as a people.
And what would this mean? What are the economic implications of this? Because in your earlier statement, you were saying the Nigerian people, it costs so much for the Nigerian people, their savings, their current, everything would now go to energy, right? And it's depleted whatever is left of whatever savings or income that they're making. So what are the expected economic implications, whether it's for the consumers, the businesses, or even the overall economy? I mean, look at our inflation numbers, right? It's sort of like picked up. We saw a better output with it in July. We don't know what the August numbers are looking like. And September, far into it, we've seen the price of fuel change twice now. How might this affect just inflation? I'm not even talking about transportation costs, inflation alone.
Basically, I should just take the words out of your mouth. This is going to have a very, very deep multiplier effect on the general price level in the country. Because most movement, transportation, and even other forms of movements, the cargo, the air movement would usually depend on these pricing mechanisms. So, but what we are going to see is not just that the inflation level is going to rise because of this gross departure from social efficiency and what in economics we refer to as Pareto optimality. What happens is that most likely the multidimensional poverty rate will increase and nothing less than 80% of Nigerians will slide further deep into poverty. Now we are seeing the gradual erosion of the Nigerian middle class. Supposedly, I'm supposed to be in the middle class. But you see, and I have to draw a budget and I have to think, I myself, I am now a fuel dispenser in my own house. What a shame. And I have to determine how many liters I need to get from where I stay to Unilag, to get from where I'm going to one point. And you can imagine the dangers that come with having to live a life like that. So I hope that the presidency, and I hope that the regulators
I seem to have lost.
Bet and I will reverse this negative Pareto optimality, this negative social inefficiency, and like I've said, become more populist in their thinking and reintroduce whatever it is, not just palliatives, not just rice, not just beans. Reintroduce the stringent measures in the system and facilitate more development of refineries, encourage the breadth of modular refineries to crash these prices down, because the character of Nigerians is being devalued, and you begin to see now that even when measures are put in place to curb inflation, to curb pricing, everybody tells you petrol has gone up, the tomato tells you petrol has gone up, the Okada man tells you petrol has gone up, then we begin to have character crisis. So it's going to have social implications, economic implications, and I sincerely hope that in 2027, it may not have political implications. We shall be alive to see how it goes, and we shall be alive to see how it turns out.
Well, so Kenneth, we all wait on the other side as press to look at the numbers and see how this would affect, the Nigerian people.